Eric, tell the crowd, what is your background?
The reason why we met is because you guys won an amazing RFP. And honestly, I would say that you guys are awesome. I want to go both ways. I want to go from the beginning. I want to go to the end. The end right now is net. I love your team. When we were looking at a specific partner to help us do what we're doing right now, for me, it was very uncomfortable. From when I started, I'll go to the beginning of like when I started with SavATree. By the way, everyone, I'm a digital marketing manager, not manager, director now. I'm so used to saying, director. I'm so used to saying manager because I've been that for 9 years before I got promoted. So it's still stuck in my mind, you know that. But as a director, before when I got to SavATree, I was kind of just freelancing, doing my own thing. And then I came across this recruiter that told me, hey, we have an opportunity we think you would love. And so when I decided, okay, let me look into this because I'm not too sure if I would want to work with a company that is upstate, because I actually wanted to work in a city. And then the corporate office of SavATree is
New York, everybody. This is New York, everybody.
When I had the opportunity to interview, I at first said no. I just was like, one, I'm okay freelancing, and two, I don't want to work in this in Westchester.
Just for context, freelancing doing what?
Doing digital marketing, website building, SEO, and also building apps. And that's kind of like what I'm known for. If you Google right now, the coolest guy on the internet, you get me. And there's going to be a lot of people that do it. And by all means, do it. Because I love when people do it. It's really fun. You get to know a lot about me when you do that. So, and that's actually how I got my job at SavATree, believe it or not. I had a couple interviews, one of which was with the Luann O'Brien at the time, and also Daniel, who was the CEO at the time, Daniel Van Starnberg. And so I would say I walked into the interview. I didn't really care too much. I just wanted to be there. It was just like, this is not something I want to do or care to do. The lady, the recruiter, Valerie, wanted me to do it. And so I was like, all right, I'll jump in. Let's just see what it's about. And so after I did that, I interviewed with both of them, and I was really impressed. Like, one, I was impressed with how in the beginning, like, the company was really small. We only had about 25 branches at the time, but they were really cool and nice people and extremely smart, like brilliant. Like, I thought, Luann was a great leader. I talked to Daniel, and I was just like, before I did the interview, of course, I did my research. I want to know who he was. I heard a couple interviews that and I was like, all right, this guy seems like a really smart guy. We had a conversation, and he told me what he wanted and what his goal was for this role. And he was like, look, honestly, I just want someone that can bring in leads, that knows how to work the website, knows how to bring in leads on a digital scale, and knows SEO. And so he was like, so what do you know about SEO? And just like what I told you guys, I'm the coolest guy on the internet. At the time, I told him, why don't you go to your computer and Google coolest boy on the internet? And Daniel, he took me up on it. Like, he was like, oh, okay. So he jumps off of his seat, goes to his desk, types it in, sees me, and he's like, okay, maybe you do know a little bit about SEO, but I need you to, make sure that our website is good because we're going through some changes. We had a conversation after that. And then next thing I talked to the CMO, Luann, and, I ended up getting an offer a few weeks after that, which was really cool. My first, I would say, couple of months there, I kind of came in as a freelancer and saying to myself, okay, like I kind of looked at their business as my own. Like, I thought to myself, okay, if you guys are running these different campaigns, because at the time before that, I used to work with this energy company, and I was just all of marketing, like everything you can think of, events, direct mail, digital marketing, like everything, like all of marketing. It was a startup, and they just needed a person to kind of do everything, which of course, not one person should be able to do everything. And I'm not saying I did anything or everything really good, but I learned a lot about the different sides of marketing while I was there. So thank you, Kevin, by the way, if you see this. After walking into SavATree, I just noticed that there was like a huge opportunity to just really start cutting some costs. And one of the costs that I cut right away was the website company at the time. I'm not going to mention them, but they basically were going to bill us between like 60 and 80,000 to redo the website. So I looked at the scope of work, and I was just like, this is actually almost double how much I'm getting paid here. How cool in my mind, I'm like, how cool would it be to just give this back to the company? Like, to save them, like do the website myself, cut that cost, right? Because I think it would be cool. Like, as a business owner, I'm saying to myself, look, if I could save this money, they probably will value me even more. So that's what I did. I actually looked at the scope. They said they would do the website in about 8 months. They were going to charge around 60 to 80,000 to do it. And I took the project and did it myself within 2. And so after that, we launched the website. We had a couple glitches here and there, but I came up with my own lead press at the time. And we kind of just rode off into the sunset. And this is back in the day when you had the web server in the actual office. So the web server was actually behind me in our storage unit. And yeah, we basically, whenever the website would go down, IT would be right there to, pull and plug the wires and make things work. And so, yeah, being there and being part of like a small team, but it was kind of like a startup culture back then because we were so small, to now being like an enterprise. Like now it's like we're huge. Like we went from when I walked in around 25 branches to now being over 100. Like we walked when we were there, like we were under $100 million business, now multi-$100 million business. And so now I would say that the stakes are much higher. And that's why, for the audience, Mark and I are working together because, for the longest time that I've been at SavATree, it's always been me that managed the website. It's always been me that kind of had to be the single point of failure, as I've been told, when it comes to, this whole like website presence and making sure that the website's running at all times. If it goes down, if I'm on vacation, I better like know what to do. I better have I always would travel with my computer right here. I would bring it with me to Jamaica, to every vacation, Vegas, whatever, and just make sure that I had access because Lord forbid, if anything happened to the website, that's basically like our business. And so I took pride in it. Like I knew like my role was, it was very important. And the more that I met people within the company, the more we had Christmas parties when we would have our conferences where I got to meet all the sales staff. Like I realized I really love these people. Like it's not just about like the company aspect of it where it's like, it kind of puts a bad taste in your mouth. Like these are actual people that I kind of love, like that I've visited, like whenever I've gone certain places, had them over, I've gone over to their places, we've gone on vacation together. Like these are like my family, right? And I've kind of grown into that. And being at the company now for almost 12 years, like it's going to be, wow, it's going to be 12 years next year. I feel like I grew up here because I'm still kind of young. For those that don't know, I'm not going to say my age, but I am kind of young. And this was like my company that I kind of grew up in, and I was able to get every opportunity that I've ever wanted to learn, to grow. And it was always put on the table from day one. Like Daniel and Luann always said, if you want to go to a conference, if it makes sense, you can go, right? If you want to learn how to do something, if it makes sense, if it's within reason, you can definitely do that. And I've taken advantage of it all the time. Like I've learned how to do like things in AWS. I've learned like a whole lot of things that have kind of came back and helped me to really manage my aspect of the business. And now being on another kind of like a leadership role with your team, because you guys are helping us now with the website because we've outgrown, right? We're now at enterprise level where we need more hands, we need more redundancy. I definitely appreciate everything about this company. This company has really helped me grow in so many different ways. I love the connections that I've made, and even with my current boss now, like I've learned so much from Phil. Like I'm probably not gonna say it too much. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm sucking up or anything like that, but I have learned so much with him being there with me, especially through this process, like from FP, like he was in the trenches with me, making that RFP, to when we did launch night, where we had to launch the website and, some things went wrong, but he stayed on the phone with me till 11 o'clock p.m. at night to make sure that things were going well. And I really appreciate the support that he's given me, as well as, the rest of my team. Like this was a full team thing to launch it. And now looking at our numbers and seeing, there are some bugs we have to fix, and this was, we knew this was coming, but I think that we're going to be in a really nice position next year for super growth. I think we're going to be really good at trying to go after our goals next year, at least be in a good position when it comes to the website to not just reflect that experience that customers deserve, but have a presence that we all can be proud of. And I think that's super cool. And that's what I love about this partnership that we have together.
What was the lead up to the RFP?
I think it's multifaceted, right? I think we're all going to have our own story on this, but this is mine. From my point of view, I would say it is very risky when, even though it's been, let's say at that point in time, almost over 10 years of me kind of managing the website, right? And managing the digital presence almost by myself to a certain extent. It is risky when you have one person doing that. And, you know, and this is what I had to humble myself to understand, because, you know, it's always been kind of me, and that's what I've been used to. So that's like my comfort. It's like, okay, this is my thing. This is what I own. And this is what I'm going to, you know, be working with. I think it came to a point where if something happened to me, God forbid, who's going to work on it? Like, where do you go from there? And it doesn't make sense for it to rest, like all of that power and even all of that responsibility to rest on one person's shoulders when you have a whole team to support. And not just, I'm talking about the marketing team, I'm talking about the whole company, right? Because like if the website goes down, God forbid, the form goes down and we need leads. Like there's people out there that are depending on this website to work, not just on a frame of, hey, we need to chop down or prune your trees or, you know, give you services. But if you look even further than that, we have teams that are relying on this to get paid to feed their families, right? And so if you look at it from that point, and that's the point that I had to kind of focus on a little bit more, like we're bigger, you know, if something happens to you, God forbid, how is the next person, if you don't get the leads in and they're not able to service these customers, how are we going to support all of these different families that we touch? And just to let everyone know, that's the level that I care, right? When I think about like my job day in and day out, I think, and I remember like, okay, it even goes down to like, if I'm going out with my friends during the week, I have to be in a position to always perform, right? That responsibility always rested on my shoulders, and I appreciated it from day one when I talked to Daniel. Like I knew that me going into this, that this role is extremely important and you got to be on point and be at your best. Because it's not even just like making sure that the other families can be fed and making sure that, you know, whatever comes through the website, that it's an even flow. You're catching things whenever there's a problem, you're fixing it right away. Like there's that aspect of it, but then there's the giant aspect of it. And this was something that I really loved. We're the third biggest in the nation. My goal from the very day one was I want us to be number one. Looking at the other players, and this is one thing that I would say my old boss, Luann, would always, you know, throw at me, was like, yeah, we're good. But, you know, there's always Bartlett and Davy that are higher than us. And that's something that's always driven me crazy. It was like, all right, but they won't be forever. Like we're going to catch up. And we have been catching up. We've been gaining lots of ground. I've said this to, you know, many team members. I cannot wait when we pass them, because it's going to happen. Because I feel like we have such a strong team. Our leadership is amazing. Like we're hiring the right people. We're doing the right service. We care about our customers. There's no way we're not going to be number one. And we're going to be number one, not just here in the United States, but globally. And so I look forward to that day of when it happens, because it's coming. So what led to that is kind of like what I was saying. This job is bigger than just one person, right? The responsibility is bigger than just one person. And as we're going through changes with our organization of, we want to rebrand, we want to make sure that we're scaling, that we're enterprise level. Like if you look at any company out there that is enterprise level, the website itself is not managed by one person, right? And so that's kind of what led in that direction. And me being the single point of failure just didn't make sense. And if you have like, you know, private equity and all that other stuff, it's going to be very uncomfortable to have that conversation where it's like, hey, it's just him, right? I personally feel, and it makes sense, of that's part of why it led to that decision of like, all right, let's just get this, you know, get more redundancy and, you know, have more hands on this, because it just makes sense. And then this is going to help us scale and grow for where we want to hit our targets in the future. So that's what kind of led to the RFP process from my point of view.
So how many people showed up for the RFP?
So I'm not going to go into that, but I will say, obviously, we know who won.
So, okay, we win the RFP.
Yes.
How was it from pitch to launch in terms of the process? Walk this person watching this is like, okay, so I'm going to go we want rapid growth. We're more enterprise now. Yes, we have that single point of failure, but we need to grow into what we actually want to become. Oh, we like this idea of having someone who's really good at websites, or a platform that's really good at websites. Like, how big of a lift was it, not just from our end, but also, like, again, between the two of our respective companies, like, how did that flow?
In general, I would say I was expected that it was going to be this amount of work. I would say that. Yeah, I thought it would be a good amount of work. What I didn't expect, and this is on me, was how many different integrations we had that needed to be carried over. And I'm dealing with that now. And so, like, there was a lot of things that I would say on my part that I could have did better at, of, like, making sure I have this documented and making sure that I know this system. Because even though we're just a tree company, we're very complex when you look at, like, the systems we use and all the connections that are made and talking to each other from, like, website all the way to CRM. And so I would say that part, and we're getting better at it now. Like, we're in a much better place than we were, like, especially even today. We did so much, like, great work, just, getting our tracking together, right? Because there are certain things, and we're learning, right? We're still in that process, and this is part of why we do it.
I mean, it really just went live. What?
Yeah, it really just went live a few weeks ago. Yeah. But that's still no excuse. Like, you still want to be in a place where things are much more comfortable, and there are things that I'm putting it on me, like, because it's my project. There's things that I feel like I missed that I could have been better at, and I'm learning that more and more as we go into it. But we are clearing it up. We are making it better. And I'm looking for, like, I think that this spring is going to be incredible, because when I look at our numbers, as far as, like, form submissions, when I look at the user experience, it's a night and day better. When we've talked to other people, especially about, like, how does this look? And I love what Phil says about it. Like, we want to build something that our team loves, that we are proud of when we show this to other customers, because, and it's true. Like, if you're proud of it, it's going to show through when you show it to a customer. It's going to show through when you show up for work every day. And I think that we have got to a point where we're creating that in our culture of, like, creating a company that we all can be proud of to work for. And not saying it wasn't like that before, but I think that, the more I hear him talk, and the more I'm starting to get influenced by him, because I'm starting to feel like I'm talking like that. I'm feeling it, right? I feel it. It's just like, okay, there's, like, some momentum here where it's like, hey, let's make this place somewhere that we're proud of, that we're happy to be at, and, make the best of it. And, I feel, I respect it.
And I keep shaking my head, because, like, it's so true, right? Like, everyone always, like, the question I always get asked is, like, oh, what keeps you up at night? And I always say, it's like, how proud I am of the work that people do here. And that hopefully I can represent it in a way that, like, makes them even more proud of the work. Like, again, like, we're not taking anything for granted, and that they're actually winning at what we're trying to accomplish here over the next 2 years. And so, totally get it. So now that we're launched, beyond spring, in terms of what you're looking forward to, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm looking for growth. I think that's the name of the game, right? We want to grow. We want to be huge. We want to be big. And I'm looking forward to, our peak season is around the springtime into the summer. And that's when we get a lot of people coming to the website, lots of activity. I'm looking forward to seeing what that is in 2025. I think that we're going to have a big year, and I'm pushing for it. And I want to do everything in my power to make sure that it comes to fruition. I want to make sure right now, and this is what we're going through in the process, is making sure all of our systems are tight. Because right now, it might seem we could make these mistakes. And this is why we launch in the fall, winter, because this is not, like, this is off season for us. Even though the work days still are long, we're still working extremely hard because we have other initiatives that we're working on simultaneously with this. But normally, like, the season is very slow in the fall, winter.
I mean, how big is your team?
Marketing team is around 10 people. My little more or less. I believe it's like 10. Don't quote me on that.
No, I already did.
That's awesome.
Okay, so making sure all the pipes are connected for springtime, making sure everything is, again, just super buttoned up so that, that influx. So again, are you guys running paid? Are you doing advanced SEO through an agency? walk people potentially through like how you're running the other aspects of digital marketing that potentially connect to the website.
Yeah, so both of those are true. We do have PPC help as well as SEO help on both sides. And I would say both teams are great. Like I don't see any issues there. Like I do know that we want to make sure that the experience of our website is good, not just it's for the customer, but the experience of like Google, right? So we want to make sure that our search engines, all the way down to AI, like I'm starting to see us pop up on the Chat GPT, side of it when I look at our analytics, which is completely awesome. Like, and I've told this to a lot of people, I would love for us to be that authority, right? I would love for someone to ask their Amazon device. I don't want to say the other word because mine will trigger, but the Amazon device, or if they prompt a Chat GPT, that our company comes up and we're the source of truth for everything when it comes to the service lines that we're in. And so that is kind of the mission that, I'm kind of embarking on. I kind of want to see how far we can go because I feel like that's going to be new. And I've always been taught from the very first day, the very first theme that we had at our company was Kaizen. Well, when I was there, when I first started, which is like changing for the good and always kind of incrementing and making things better and better and better and never being satisfied with like status quo or where you're at, like just being satisfied with growth and being uncomfortable, right? In a way, like being uncomfortable of where you're at and just stretching yourself to see how far you can go. And that's kind of like where I've came from. And that's what I kind of want to see when it comes to what we're doing with our initiatives. Like how much can we go? How far can we stretch, right? Not just where we are with the website. Like the website has, if you look at our traffic, it looks pretty good year after year. We're killing it, but we can do better, right? And what are those things? What are those increments that we can make with our website, which we made a huge increment going over to DevHub. Like, I think that's huge when you look at our site structure, when you look at how we're building and how, in a way, fast we can move to make changes. I think we're doing the right thing, for our team, for the business, by having such a system versus what we had, which was like WordPress. For where we're going, like we needed something that was going to be more customized and more targeted to like what we're trying to do with the company. This is like a whole DevHub ad.
In a weird way, yes, but ultimately, it's all of it. The cliche is like it was all hard work.
Yeah.
I mean, again, like your guys' RFP was extensive, so you guys obviously did your homework on what you're looking for. They had you for all the years to like gut check everything, and so again, like it came together, and then again, many months later, it's launched. Still sort of in this weird honeymoon phase of like, oh my God, and then like, now let's see, like, how does this actually shake out? I can tell you from our end, not an ad, is that everyone very much cares about your success and obviously SavATree's success, and not just like lip service, but actual like, okay, how do we become number one? Like, we're in it to win it. Like, how do we actually do it? Like, I mean, and again, that's how I always get like, and it sucks because like loyalty, I don't know, it's like a weird thing in business. Sometimes, you're loyal and sometimes it could be a weakness,
Yeah.
But like I get loyal to the customer, or whether it's junk removal, trees. I mean, remember my whole thing was like, I love trees. I love trees. Like I was like, let's go. And every time I see one of the trucks drive by, at least, in Arizona, I'm like, whether that's SavATree or not, I'm like, if it's not, I'm like, all right, how do we get in touch with this owner? How do we bring that into our fold? Anyway. And so, yeah, very, very excited. And again, it was good to capture us in this moment, and we'll see how this lives on the internet.
Yeah.
How well does this age?
I know, right? How well does this age? It's like, Barrett, what were you doing talking to Mark?
Look, I mean, I'll just say this candidly. I genuinely believe the role of the website will change more. I mean, obviously, just faster than it's ever changed. And I put the timeline at less than 2 years, right? Mm-hmm. And so I always say here at DevHub, I'm like, look, we have 2 years. We have 2 years. One part of it, win the market. 2, innovate ahead of where the market is going to be, right? And if we can do that and build the brand of DevHub, we can be around together forever.
Yeah.
If we fall short of that, it's over. Wrap it up. You know, like we're just going to be another commodity out there in the landscape of 11,000 other tools that someone can use.
Yeah.
And so again, it is like, I look at it like a dead sprint over these next 2 years. And again, it was, you know, in some respects, I would say like, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Period.
No, it works both ways.
Yeah.
Like I think that
The problem, I will just say real quick, you guys spoiled us a little bit.
Yeah.
In the sense that we thought, at least initially, that there's so many more people that do think like you guys, you know, like website, it's important. Here's how it's going to connect to the, like, versus like, we're actually having to like sell websites, which is like a little bit different than, you know, like for you, it was like the value. It was just, I don't know. It was a little bit of a learning curve after you guys. We did close a couple other big ones. And then now we understand, oh, okay. Basically, how do you create that day in, we literally say the words day in the life of Americ at a brand that maybe is only at 20 today.
Yep.
But they want it, they have the ambition to get to 100, to get to 1,000, you know, and it's like, we've had to basically reshape all of that. So again, for that, you know, it's a thank you to you guys, because you kind of opened us up to that, I guess, narrative or story.
Yeah.
Versus just being like a technology and just call it good. And
yeah.
So,
no, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I will say, in the beginning of like the RFP process and kind of going through it, I was extremely uncomfortable. Not necessarily with you, just with the process of knowing the direction we were going into. And I'll explain that in a bit. So I'm the person that is very much hands on keyboard, writes the code, makes all the changes. For me, there's a level of comfort there when I know if something isn't working correctly, not only do I know, okay, something's broken here, I can just go fix it, right? Knowing that we were kind of going into a world where it was going to be less of that, where it was going to be, okay, there's going to be a line or a fence. These guys are going to work the problems, you know, the critical errors that happen, and then you're going to kind of do the surface level stuff. And so for me, I've always come from the startup culture of like warp speed, where if something goes down, something's not working, something needs to be built, to just go build that and just make it work, to, you know, now you got to put in a ticket. And like me knowing that and just knowing like, dang, that's going to make me slower. I don't want to be slower. I'm so used to forever. I've been fast. I've been able to just do stuff right away. It took me a while to just get over that hump of, okay, this is a new normal, but I understood, you know, why? Because, you know, like I said before, there was the one side of it, you need redundancy. And then the other side of it that, you know, I have to appreciate is knowing that Phil, Josh, and team, even, you know, all the way up, you know, they're looking at me as to be more of a leader. Instead of me being hands on keyboard and having to kind of stay at that level where you're having to just do it and knock it out, now the opportunity to grow and kind of have a team help you do it for you, but also coach them and make them better to be more stronger to help me and to help our company. And that's what I'm starting to see. Like, I didn't see it before this time last year, but as we're working together and as I'm able to, like, if I point something out to your team and they're able to just, you know, I think Ian's amazing. Hi, Ian. Absolutely incredible. Ian, Nicole, we have our calls every, you know, couple days now, and they're awesome. Like, whenever I, you know, say something, I would say, Ian will say, I'm not technical, but I can get the technical people. But he's done a really nice job of like being a conduit to like whatever I say, talking to them and getting the right people on the call. Like, if there's a bottleneck or if something's not happening correctly, like, he'll get them on the call and then we will knock it out, you know, pretty fast. For me personally, with this whole project, it was, in the beginning, it was hard. It was very like, it's different. It's a different normal, but I get, like, as we're going through things now, I totally get it. It was the right move. And, you know, I think we will see the benefits of it, you know, come time in the spring. And now I'm able to do so many more things. Like, I didn't realize how many other things I could do with having the comfort to, one, sleep at night, because I know your team, if the site goes down, it's on you now. And so I could sleep at night. I could go on vacations, you know, right? Can't wait to go to Trinidad next year. Shout out, girlfriend. There's that. But, you know, now I'm in a situation where I can build, you know, other things. And so from this, like, we were able to build out like our we have a DAM, a digital asset management system, where, you know, whenever we do our headshot system, like if we do headshots of our arborists, we're building, I shouldn't say we, but I'm building we're building a system that's going to go from someone taking a picture on their phone, being edited by this other team, this third-party team, to then going all the way through into our DAM, our data, our digital asset management system, to then going to the web. And I'm going to be working with so many, like I'm working with one team over here. Our marketing team is helping me with the DAM side of it. And then your team is going to help me with getting it to the website. And we're eventually going to have this automation that is seamless. That's going to cut out, I can't even tell you how many hours of time this is going to cut out for our team. And I'm happy to be able to be in a position to build solutions like this, along with working with your team on managing the website and make sure that we're keeping it up to date and making sure it's performing. I'm excited for it because, again, I get to sleep at night and build these cool situations now. Like now I get a little bit of time back to do more cool things. And yeah, I feel like I appreciate my job even more because I'm even happier with, you know, things, with how things are going. I wasn't happy before, but I would say I'm happier now.
Because of the way the tone of this video and everything, and I just, again, I told you, I learned from like the candidness of just like talking and not having the formality. And I liked it when you called out a couple of people's names. I did blast everybody when you weren't looking, being like, we're bringing everyone to DevHub next week, you know, in person.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to play our entire interview.
Oh,
so if there is anyone that you want to shout out that from DevHub, they're going to watch this at our holiday party, even if they can't necessarily hear it, but the captions that come up, you know, and I'll know where they're at, but nonetheless, like either they'll have to take a shot or whatever, you know, whatever they want to do, I guess. But if you have any other names you want to name,
I can name them all. I mean, I can name them all.
Name them because I want them to. Go ahead. Name them.
Jen is a great pick. You know, I know she got promoted, if I'm not mistaken, this year. Awesome. Absolutely incredible. She's so awesome when it comes to just making sure that we're heard with, you know, some of the aspects of it. And I feel like I don't want to say we could be annoying sometimes because I feel annoying. That's when I'm asking for certain things and I'm coming back and then, you know, within the same day, I'm just like, no, like this needs to be changed. Like, no. And, you know, granted, we're the client, so it should be that way. But I would say you guys have been extremely patient.
Ian, Jen,
you, Mark. Daniel has been absolutely incredible with the integrations. I forgot some of your web team names, but, you know, those that have joined the calls, you know, Brian, I forgot. I don't want to say Elliot. I think there was another Mark, or I'm missing his name, but there was another guy, another developer that you had that was really on point. There was actually a couple of them. Your designer, he was incredible. I forgot his name off the top of my head. Jake. Yes, Jake. Jake was freaking amazing from the beginning. I remember having all those calls with Jake, and he would put together these amazing mock-ups for us. And we fell in love with them, right? So we had, you know, our design team design, you know, a couple different layouts for us, but having Jake actually put them together and put them into motion where we can actually click and play around with it really made the difference. It really kind of brought home what we were building, and it made it cool because when we're showing other, you know, teams what we're building, it was just like this excitement started to build, you know. So I'd say Jake, of course, I said Ian already. I'm trying not to miss anyone, but you put me on the spot. So if I don't say any one name, I'm sorry. But the dev team, the design team, everybody in the back end, including Daniel. Who else? Who am I missing? I'm missing a lot. I'm about to go to my meeting notes and call everyone out. But I'm gonna just stop there because I can't think of everyone off of the top of my head, and I know I'm missing a bunch.
No, the spirit is captured anyway, so you're good.
Okay, deal.
I liked it because again, we're bringing everyone together. We're all going to be in actually a theater, and I'm actually going to play this entire video for them. They're going to hear what I'm saying to you right now. I'm not going to edit it. We're going to play it, and then right around now, people are getting hungry, and so right around now, it's like, hey. Would you just wrap it up already, Mark?
I don't wrap it up. Hey, and if anyone has a glass of wine, I just want to give you guys a toast. You know, if you could put your glasses up, since this is going to be played live or whatever. I don't have my wine glass on me. I want to just have a toast with you guys and just tell you all from the bottom of my heart, thank you. This wasn't what I was expecting as far as when I first started versus where I'm at now mentally, because I thought, this was very uncomfortable going from being the guy to now, having, other hands in my pot. I would say you guys have made it very comfortable for me, made my life so much easier, and I appreciate you a ton. So cheers to all of you, and thank you. I'm actually no, I'm not gonna do that. This is recorded. We'll do that on the non-recorded line.
Yeah, no, when we do the DevHub Hotel marketing when we do DevHub Hotel. All right, cool. Merrick, so I'll end it, and then I'm basically it's gonna just disconnect us. But again, like you have my number and everything, and I'll let you know as this gets edited and whatnot.
Okay, deal. And when you're in town, let me know. We'll go out for real drinks. All right, Mark.
All right. Thank you, Merrick. I'll connect with you, obviously.
Yep. All righty.
Peace.